very interesting stuff. It seems that the American Supreme Court is going to discuss moderators. Maybe not use that specific word, but they're definitely going to discuss free speech on social media platforms and the internet as a whole. Because, well, I knew this had to happen. This had to happen. Not a matter of could it happen, it was going to happen. It was just a matter of when, why, and what the outcome will be. That I don't know. That I don't know because there are multiple outcomes that could come of it. But law works a specific way for a reason. In other words, when you look, whether you look at a law book or whether you go to a ballot poll, I mean, the American elections are coming up soon, I believe, in November. When you go to a polling booth and you look at the ballot and you see all these sentences and structuring and wording that appears arcane to you, it appears like they're making it confusing on purpose. To some degree, that might be true, but they have to word it that way. Because if they don't word it that way, well, then that creates contradictions. And that can create exploits and infinite loops, so to speak, that just completely tears down the fabric of stability and law and order. You cannot have gray areas in the law. You have to have it be objective all the time, whether good or bad, so that it can continue to function. And the reason I know this, and this is going to sound really stupid, but the reason I know this is because that's exactly how Yugioh is played. I know, but Yu-Gi-Oh has these weird fucking 10 paragraph cards because of the interactions between those cards. For example, a monster that can't be destroyed by battle or card effect has no bearing on its ability to be returned to the hand or shuffled back into the deck or switch control or be targeted, just targeted as an idea. All of these have different connotations. That's how the law works. Just because something, let's say for example, how a lot of pro-moderator people bring up how websites can't be liable for what you and other people say because they're protected by statute whatever. That may be true. They're protected as an apparatus. The website is protected from liability. That doesn't mean that the moderators and administrators of the website they're in are protected from liability because they're a separate entity. That'd be like many of times in Yu-Gi-Oh where a monster will battle mine and I'll have Moon Mirror Shield on it and it can't be targeted with effects. Well, that's all well and good for you, but I'm not targeting you with an effect. I'm not targeting your monster with an effect. I am targeting my own monster with an effect. I don't even think I'm actually targeting my monster. It just says when it's in battle raises its attack by 100, but it doesn't specifically say it's targeting or anything like that. It's just during battle, my monster is going to go up by 100 points, which means I'm always going to win unless you get rid of Mirror Shield or get rid of the monster it's attached to. So that is how the law works, and it has to work that way. It's not a matter of we enjoy it. It's not a matter of it's beneficiary. Obviously, they're going to try to make it be beneficiary. That's human nature. That's just being a rational human being. But it has to be that way, or else there's bigger problems down the line. If they didn't specify things like that, which if you ask me, they really could do a better job of it in Yu-Gi-Oh, and perhaps the law, but if they don't specify, things go awry. And if the only complaint is they don't specify well enough. For example, in Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't think you need 10 paragraphs to say what you could say in one sentence and just use parentheses when it's available. But that's a whole other topic that I don't want to get into right now. If people would want me to get into that later, I might be willing, because God knows I could talk about this all day. Because the two are interchangeable when it comes to me. When it comes to me, I see so many variables between the two that it's like I'm basically passing the 10 bar exams, because it's like the likeness is uncanny. And now the Supreme Court is going to challenge. Well, the Supreme Court isn't going to challenge, but they're going to hear about these two sides, and I don't really know yet what the two sides are coming to the table with. I don't know what they're arguing for exactly, so I can't tell you my opinion or what I even think is going to happen from it. But what I can tell you is there are several end results that could happen if what I've been saying is taken seriously for fucking ever, at least for 15 years. Um, Number one, if moderators can't ban you on their forum, especially social media, if that's a separate thing from a website, the reason would have to be because you are a legal person online. A lot of people use their real name and their identities online. You could fucking dox somebody just by looking up their Facebook. Well, since you're a real person, you have the right to freedom of speech. You do. I don't care what you say about it. It's your website. I don't fucking care. You are a legal person. If, let's say, you decide to say you're going to shoot up a school, guess what? The police are going to investigate that name and that face and attach it to you and associate you with that threat. So, knowing that, it would stand to reason that you are protected, at least in the regard of your speech to it, to not be harassed and fucking libeled by Facebook or Twitter or whatever. They can't go around saying that, they can just ban you whenever they want, because they can't. Because that's why you're liable for those posts you make. And again, if you're liable, well, then they shouldn't be claiming you're making those kinds of posts anyway, because that's not their place to invoke that. If they, for example, Reddit says, I'm making death threats, prove it. I've always told them that. Prove it. Because if you can prove it in a court of law, that's a different story. But for you to just say, I'm making a death threat, I could say that about anybody, anytime. That's called defacement. Unless you can actively prove what I'm doing is a death threat, then you're just lying about me. And if you're lying about me and lying about my character and lying about my intentions, I could sue you. I could sue you for everything you got. Do you want that? Do you want that as a possibility? Not saying it's a 100% guarantee. I'll get to sue you for everything you have. But it's a possibility. Are you prepared for that possibility? If not, shut your fucking mouth, moderators. Everybody shut their fucking mouth. But they don't want to. They think they could just do whatever they want because they're the moderator and it's their website. No. No. That is not how shit works. That is not how property ownership works. That is not how law works. That is not how the First Amendment right works. That is not how anything fucking works. So, we first have to decide, is someone online a person? Is the person they represent the person that they are in the court of law, and who owns their content? Because if they are their own individual autonomous person, they own their own content and words because those words reflect the inner workings of the person. If not, then the moderator is liable for the content. And if, let's say, I'm liable for my own content, do I get reimbursements for all previous infractions of defacement, of harassment, of just bullying me by these moderators? Do I get that? Do I get my free stuff? Give me my Bernie Sanders. These are all questions that they're going to have to ask, and these are all lots and lots of issues they're going to have to go through. They'll wish they were me, because at least I've been dealing with it for 15 fucking years. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. And if you are not a person online, then yeah, they can ban you all they want to, but then the moderators themselves are liable, regardless of if the website isn't. The website and the moderator are two different things. So yes, let's say some dumbass kid makes a bomb threat to a school. Well, I guess Facebook isn't getting taken down. Twitter is not getting taken down. I never expected them to get taken down. But you know what? The moderators might get taken down. They might start wearing jumpsuits, orange jumpsuits, because they're the ones held liable. Someone else can always come behind them and take management over Facebook and Twitter and shit. There can always be a new manager. There can always be a new moderator. But there can't always be a new Facebook or a Twitter. Separate entity. And we know that corporations are considered entities under the law. that was the big controversy of legal personhood for corporations. That's what that means.